Meet Chris Ming. He's real. Chris is a real guy. He teaches chemistry to about 200 high school students every year just outside of Atlanta, Georgia. And he's a phenomenal teacher. But it's always really challenging for Chris to find the time to spend with 200 different students outside the class to provide them with the support that they need. But ever since he discovered Educreations, that has become much easier. Using Educreations, Chris has been recording short 5 to 10 minute video tutorials and posting those on the web where his students can replay them over and over as needed, whenever, wherever. Here's how it works. So today Chris is going to record just a brief lesson about the atom. He simply presses record, and now everything he says and everything he writes is being captured by the app. Chris loves to add great images to his lesson, so he does a quick web search for atom, finds a number of great options online, and scrolls down until he finds an image that he likes. As soon as he selects one, it automatically is going to download straight into the whiteboard. He can move it around. He can resize it with his fingers. Very intuitive. And then he can use the drawing tools to mark it up. So he circles the electron. And since Chris's handwriting tends to be a little bit messy at times, his students really appreciate that Chris uses the text tool to write clearly when he labels things. Notice that when Chris adds an image or when he adds text, the recording automatically pauses. So when students go back and replay his video, there's no dead space. So we're recording in real time here. There's no post-production. When he's finished, he presses save. Don't worry about it. He presses save. He goes through a save flow that consists of giving the lesson a title and optionally a description. He chooses who can see that lesson. He can share it publicly or privately with his students. And he specifies a category, a subject area, and a subject. The lesson is immediately uploaded to the web, and his students are notified via email automatically, and they can immediately access that lesson and play it back. Over the past semester, Chris has recorded about 60 of these lessons, and his students have watched those lessons thousands of times. But something really interesting happened as well. Chris shared most of his lessons publicly. And over the past 4 months, students outside of Chris's school began discovering his lessons. And in just that one semester, these lessons have been viewed 17,000 times by thousands of students literally around the world, and increasing every day. Imagine a world in which any student can access the lessons of essentially the world's best teachers. That is the world that we are working to create at Educreations. A couple of lessons we've learned along the way. One is that platform matters. We launched an online whiteboard, a Flash-based whiteboard, prior to doing our iPad app. And a really cool product, but it didn't gain traction for a number of reasons. We launched essentially the same idea on the iPad, and just the change of platform made an incredible difference in terms of distribution, in terms of just the intuitiveness of the app. And now we're finding that users are actually finding our online whiteboard and adopting that by virtue of the fact of discovering us in the App Store. Number two is that students love video lessons. There's just something about removing the intimidation factor of being in a classroom and having to raise your hand and ask a question, to be able to actually go back and watch your own teacher, who you're very familiar with, in the comfort of your home or on your mobile device, to be able to rewind and rewatch the parts that you don't understand is very comforting for a student. And so we've got lots of data that suggests that students really, really enjoy learning this way. So we're Educreations, and check us out in the App Store.
Awesome. And so Instant Khan Academy in an app. What do you guys think? And where does it post the videos to? I'm assuming YouTube?
They post to educreations.com right
okay.
now. Eventually, maybe YouTube. Not yet.
The money question?
Not yet. Okay.
Not yet. Yeah.
Well, so as far as I remember from being educated, nothing looked like Khan Academy, 2 years ago, and now everything in education, novel education technology seems to look like it. So what's so great about that medium?
I think, at the end of the day, this is about communication. And our take on it is right now, Khan Academy is great. There's some great lessons there, but there's something about the context of a teacher with her own kids in her classroom that another teacher can't compete with. And so by lowering the barrier, making it much simpler than it's ever been for any teacher to do this.
Yeah, but that's
it becomes
getting more
right?
teachers. But I think what she's referring to is the format of
video
a
lessons.
Wacom tablet,
Yeah.
and pulling in illustrations and doing voice over it.
Yeah.
Is that a really great education technique?
Is
For
it just
some
that
reason?
you can kind of pause it and do it on your own time? Is that the
Sure.
key
Yeah.
step
I mean,
forward?
it's, I think we would all agree that personalized learning is the goal. This is one way to get there. I think adaptive platforms have a lot of promise. We're looking at that as well. But at the end of the day, a lot of the communication that happens in the classroom will continue to happen. Teachers are not going to stop communicating their great ideas to students and turn that over to software. I truly believe that. So we're providing them with a platform and a tool to continue to do that in a way that students can take with them and replay.
I think to Liz's point, I've seen personally like 3 or 4 people creating sort of iPad video lessons and sort of adopting Khan Academy into the classroom. And the nice thing about Khan Academy is it has all this great analytics, so you can see what students are sort of doing. It has the ability for students to collaborate with each other and ask questions and post answers so they can help each other out. And it gives teachers the ability to see where students are struggling with, there's a topic where they're rewinding back and forth or they're unable to answer the quiz questions that they have at each sort of break point. Yeah. Do you have any of those features? Are you enabling the teacher to sort of track students' progress in the lectures, or is it just to create the videos and the lessons?
Great question. The short answer is that's all in our plans. Right now, we've focused on the content creation part, but assessing the content is equally important.
We do have view tracking, so the teacher can see which of their students have viewed the lessons right now, and we do have a question and answer interface as well. So
I think Liz's point is that this is starting to become a super competitive space because Salman has sort of sparked a lot of folks getting very interested in this. How do you guys feel like you're going to be able to have your product stand out among sort of the at least 3 or 4 I've seen and probably 10 more that are likely out there?
Yeah, we've been fortunate that among the competitive products in the space, ours is the top ranked product. It's got the most traction right now. Some of it will come down to just providing the best features the quickest. The other part of it is providing the best community. I mean, why does a teacher choose our platform versus somebody else? I think that has to do with providing the community on the site so that we're the place they want to put their lessons.
So why the choice to host the lessons yourself? If this teacher can get 17,000 views, they might have 170,000 on YouTube where people are actually starting their search for content, and you're just not going to come up. And obviously, Google ranks based on if they own the property or not first. That was a joke.
Sure. Yeah.
But YouTube tends to come up first. It's the biggest ecosystem, right? I mean,
yeah, we're looking at that.
Yeah. So you think that's
one reason is we have a custom storage format that's more efficient. So it works really well in schools that are bandwidth constrained. So if you have 30 kids in a class all trying to watch a YouTube video, you're going to bog down the T1 line. Yeah. With ours, it's 1/20th the size. So a lot more kids can be watching the same video.
It's a good answer. Yeah. Question from a teacher. Tyler, you got somebody got a thing?
It's actually, I guess it is a question and a comment, both. It seems like if I understand correctly what you're doing, it seems like you're in a perfect position to expand your offerings by and position yourself differently by making it a content creation opportunity for students. It seems like there's a lot more learning opportunity in children creating, or any age of learners creating their own content and sharing it with each other. So I'm wondering if that's far away in your model or if it's just a small iteration in how you're presenting.
Great question. That's actually surprised us. We figured that students would use the tool, but we had no idea the extent to which they would use it. Lots of teachers, their favorite use is actually to get students creating lessons. And so we're kind of scrambling a little bit to support that use case. There's some privacy controls and things that need to be put in place so that there's an approval flow, but we're really excited about the stuff that students are making. And we've seen that, and there's just something about learning from somebody else that's your own age that's incredibly empowering, and it's much easier sometimes to relate to somebody who puts it in your own terms. So,
and the app's free.
It's a free app.
How are you guys paying those hosting bills, or how are you going to plan on paying those hosting bills?
Investors ask us that question too a lot.
Of course.
So our model is predicated upon expanding our footprint and building a large audience. We think if we can do that it sounds very cliche, but if we can do that, some options down the road that are really interesting will come into play. So whether that's real-time online tutoring, whether that's selling some sort of solution to schools around the data that I kind of mentioned before, So you've got the videos, but you're also assessing the effectiveness of the videos and pulling data out.
So a premium version at some point.
Yeah.
Freemium right now, yeah.
Right. So how many downloads are we talking about so far?
We haven't released publicly, but it's
a good time.
We're doing,
6 figures, 7 figures?
Yeah, it's hundreds of thousands.
Hundreds of thousands.
Hundreds of thousands.
Do you track how many of what portion of the videos are being watched? Like if a teacher creates it by the students in their classroom or in their school versus the 17,000 others?
We can if the user authenticates and logs in. If it's a public view, we don't know who that user is all the time. But for users that are logging in, we can tell that. Now, I will say we haven't done a great job of supporting. Right now, it's a tool for a single teacher to use with her students. The next step is to launch a public directory so I can browse videos from Chris and other teachers. People are doing that in a limited way right now, but that's something we need to do. We got big plans there. So.
Awesome. It's a great start, and let's hear it for Educreations.